Okay, WhatsApp family and my YouTube friends, I'm back with you. A day may have elapsed for you, but only a few minutes elapsed for me. So I'm just going to continue right on from where I left off in the last note, where I say now, consider what David Siemens says. We are again discussing about the concepts that we have of God. When we ask individuals to trust God and to surrender to Him, we are presuming that they have concepts or feelings of a trustworthy God who has only their best interests at heart and in whose hands they can place their lives. But according to their deepest gut level concept of God, they may hear us asking them, and I'm quoting from the book, they may hear us asking them to surrender to an unpredictable and fearful ogre, an all powerful monster whose aim is to make them miserable and take from them the freedom to enjoy life. Let me just say, pardon any little background noises you may hear. Sometimes the furnace kicks in, so you hear that kind of murmur in the background, or if you hear any ponging coming from outside. All right, so I end of quotation there. So I go on to say, while I was reading, I was analyzing my past feelings about God. And I hope that even while we're going through this note, that you are introspective enough to analyze your own feelings, because it'll just be you, nobody not gonna know what you're thinking, huh? Right. So I said, before I met him, he really did seem distant, a kind of absentee God. I did not doubt his existence, but I had no sense of any personal interest he had in me. I did not sense his care for me. With the wisdom of years and exposure to counseling theories, I can better understand why I felt the way that I did. The writer posits that our concepts of God are formed from, among other things, our relationships with our parents and the adults in our lives. I was not reared in the traditional nuclear family, but I had an excellent mother who fathered me. The following illustration corroborates the above point made by Siemens very well. It is taken from the SDS Sabbath School Teachers Bible Study Guide for the quarter January to March 2006. That's quite a while ago, isn't it? For the lesson entitled Living with the Lambs, choose this section, focus on lessons from the Heavenly Parent. The writers of the lesson say, and I'm quoting, Tuesday's lesson portrays God as a parent. Why is it hard for some of us to envision God that way? Eva was 71 years old, excuse me, and a retired minister of a Protestant denomination. When I, and in brackets Sue, met her at a retreat, I assumed she would describe herself as being close to God. One evening, after spending a day in required silence along nature trails and in rooms where we could pray and study, we came together to eat and break our silence. I wonder if perchance anybody who studied the lesson may have remembered that. It would have to be somebody who had the teacher's quarterly, though. It was then that Eva began to weep as she shared, listen carefully, she began to weep as she shared for the first time in her life that she realized she was God's child and that He always loved and cared for her. This person is 71. She's a minister in a church. She confessed that because of her minister's father's harshness and disapproval, she never felt good enough. And although she felt called to ministry, she now realized she had never heard God speak to her before. Her earthly father was now deceased, but she was overjoyed to finally understand God's fatherly love for her. All right. Yeah. I'm going to stop here. As I say, it's just about 5. But I find this to be intensely interesting because I think that just merely going to church does not mean that you trust God. Many people could be going to church who are absolutely terrified of God because they have wrong concepts of Him. So I think the discussion that we are going through is very important. And if you do not look askance at it or just brush it one side as just saying that she's talking about, it may actually be very, very helpful. We have, each of us must critically evaluate how we see God because it does have grave implications for our level of trust in Him. All right, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to pick up again. It seems as though there's still more to go, but I think it's important and I'm just going to stay with it. And I'm not going to hop about like a bunny. Last thing, I find that people learn things better when you stay with a particular theme rather than jump from here, there, and everywhere. All right, you take care. You have a good day and we'll pick up again. Bye bye. Thanks for allowing me into your space.